Speaking of weird improv words to start with,
Yeah.
we took a suggestion today, and somebody was like, "Poison." I went, what?
Poison for Cusco. Cusco's poison.
I think there's a lot of good opportunities with that one.
No, we made it work.
Yeah.
Like it's like that was weirdly violent.
Right. No, it's always these are either the most blasé, nonchalant,
Murder!
basic ass answers, or hey yo,
Right.
y'all good.
Somebody's like, "The War of 1812," and you're like, "Huh?"
Oh my god. No, real quick. The simultaneously best and worst thing I ever did was during Fringe Festival doing one of the games for comedy sports, which is like pantomime, like history class, basically, where, or historical ballet, where you have two actors that are like ballet dancing, pantomiming their way through a historical event that the third person has to say to the audience, like, oh yes, and today we're going to learn about blank.
Yeah.
And my American ass playing on a team with Brits and being asked about like the War of 1044, some shit. And I went, what?
My country is 300 years old. What the fuck are you guys talking about?
Yes, the War of the Roses and the fucking arrow through the eye. That's
It's fine. It's just Game of Thrones.
Right.
You know, what'd be really funny?
Yeah.
Is if this was actually the start of the episode.
Hey,
Then we just bleed into the intro music.
Yeah.
we're just being really casual. It's fine.
My articles. Oh God.
My articles.
My microfiche!
Good. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome back to the Liberal Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Bodio. With me, I have Kaylie Horowitz
Bonjour.
and Andy Gibson.
God.
So I'm still obsessed with Emilia Perez.
God.
Still?
Mm-hmm.
It's been weeks.
It's been like months for me. So we're still neck deep into award season. Now it's like the weird awards that come between the Golden Globes and the Oscars, like the SAG Awards and the European Awards.
The Independent Spirit Awards.
Yeah. So the Critics' Choice Awards just happened, and Emilia Perez won 3 trophies, the same number as Wicked, which is like, how? Why? The European Film Awards, I think they won 37.
How many are given out?
That's not surprising, but I hate that fact.
Like they swept and it wasn't even close. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me double check.
I mean, not to be judgmental, but I'm going to be completely judgmental. It's a European award being given to a French cinematographer. Are you shocked?
Yeah.
I just don't think Europeans have ever seen a good movie before. Like, it's fucking mind-boggling, bro. Correction. It was the 37th European Film Awards. And Emilia Perez went 5 for 5.
Damn.
I was just like, 37 awards. Jesus Christ, how many pieces of metal are they giving out? We're going to be in a shortage.
And now for best smoke coming off of a cigarette goes to...
Whoa. I love this category. They never failed to disappoint.
But like, on top of all that, it's this weird dichotomy of, in Europe, people like, this movie is revolutionary. Mm-hmm. It does all these cool things. It does whatever. And then literally everywhere else on the planet, we're all like, this movie sucks.
Yeah. I feel like,
what are you even doing?
I feel like there's always something like that, though. Like when we look at the international category for like the Oscars, it's always that, like, you know, you want to like not just like call out movies made in other countries as like lesser or whatever, because like, no, there are great directors and storytellers in all like corners of the globe.
Sure.
But for some fucking reason, it's truly just like continental Europe that is like, what are y'all doing?
It's like, here's where we put all the ex-Soviet states movies. Right. Like all of them, they get this one category, and it's like, what are we doing here? No, they are not. It's shitty over
Spoilers.
Spoilers, they're not good.
Are we going to have to go into another great war against the entirety of Europe just because of Emilia Perez?
For many other reasons, we might.
Yeah,
I mean, to be frank, that's kind of like a better reason to cause a world war than Archduke Franz Ferdinand getting shot.
We're Americans. If we're going to start a war, we got to go into it over something completely fucking stupid, like pouring a bunch of tea into a harbor. Or, we all hate this movie, you French fucks.
I'm going to walk over there like, my friend Frank said you guys have never seen a movie before, and I hate you.
You're going to walk across the Atlantic Ocean. You're just going to go take a stroll.
If I could, I would.
Instead of like launching bombs, we're just going to load up cannons full of Roger Rabbit on DVD and shoot it at them.
They need it. We airdrop that shit, bro.
Honestly,
put little parachutes on every DVD case.
Every DVD is
It'll be parachute. Like the Berlin airdrop.
But it's just like the good content drop, right?
Yeah. They just see little
This
parachutes.
is what they mean by dropping good content.
Right. We do like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Green Mile, and Saving Private Ryan just to like let them know.
We'll just give them a best of Tom Hanks box.
Honestly, yeah. Like, it's sad. They can connect with that. They're usually sad movies, but like they resolve with some hope or some like silver lining by the end of it, right?
But
it's not their fault. They've had to work through 40 years of Doctor Who.
But like back to the shit French movie. Apparently, Carla Sofia Gasson, who is the lead actor, she's under a bunch of fire too because she's just like super uncool on Twitter.
I did.
Oh, no.
It's like she was like saying stuff that wasn't cool with Black Lives Matter. And she even like, I think she like cursed out Selena Gomez like years ago, like on Twitter. And it's like, apparently she's not even Mexican. I learned she's not Mexican. She's Spanish. She just lives in Mexico. So I'm like, what? There's so much to this 2-hour crap fest.
Like, that's the thing that boggles my mind more than anything is like, Zoe, Selena, what are y'all doing here? You're better than this.
But they're getting so many
like, did you owe a favor for a favor to be here? Why are you here?
They're getting so many awards.
And the Oscar for most drama goes to... Sorry, don't you mean best drama? No, I don't.
No.
Most. We made a new category, ladies and gents.
I have learned more about Selena Gomez in the last 2 weeks than I ever cared to in my entire life. Did you not know she was a billionaire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
She's like, apparently, she's like the third most followed person on Instagram.
Yes.
Like, that's insane. The chick from Wizards of Waverly Place is just like, she made a company and made $2 billion in 5 years. Because I guess money just doesn't mean anything anymore. So I'm like still coping with that.
Always was that bitch.
Uh-oh. Guys, if we have to eat the rich, we're going to have to eat Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
I got my fork.
We'll have an amuse-bouche first.
Oh, God.
I don't know, dude. I'm just like...
reeling. That's what you are.
Yeah.
I just love this like flashback of you trying to go on like a nice movie date and... all of a sudden, the Phantom of the Opera theme starts playing as soon as you buy the ticket. Where you're just like, I heard there's a French movie being played right now. Harmony. Not a good one, but harmony.
No. I was imagining Bo experiencing the Spider-Verse. This is a canon event. It cannot be altered.
It has to be, right? And there's like there's one version of me going back. It's like, I have to erase this. And I always end up at the fucking theater again.
I'm back in the building again.
But like, I was thinking about it too. And I'm like, okay, why aren't Europeans bothered by this? Because I think one of the biggest things is Zoe Saldana is not Mexican. She's Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
Carla Sofia Garcon is not Mexican, she's Spanish. Selena Gomez is Mexican, but she's third generation and she had to learn Spanish for the role, which I'm not going to front her on, right? I'm first generation and I don't know my people's native language. I can't speak it fluently.
It's also not as like globally well known as Spanish is.
Also true.
There wasn't a Muzzy CD for it, so you get a pass.
Nigerians didn't participate in imperialism. We were victims of it. If like somebody in stateside, right, were to make this movie, we would say, okay, we have to have some kind of representation of these people if we're going to go out of our way to tell this story. And I'm trying to put myself in the position of a European person, and the only thing I can think is they don't think that's necessary, right?
Yeah.
Because like if I'm a French dude and they're like, hey, you're German in this movie, I'd be like, yeah, cool, and nobody would bat an eye, right? But if I'm a black dude and they say, hey, you're Mexican in this movie, I'm like, wait, hold on. I don't know if that's okay. Right? I think it's like all of that plus like the other stuff associated with it, the admittingly just straight up mistreatment of trans people, the mistreatment of a culture separately from yours, right? And I'm like, I guess they just can't conceive of any of that, you know, or if they can, they don't care.
The European mind could never comprehend.
This is getting dangerous, kids.
No, that's my favorite thing that goes around on like TikTok is just like, it's a platter of food that is ridiculously large in proportion with just the caption, the European mind could never fathom.
Shout outs to Lambert's in Orange Beach, Alabama.
Flying bread. The European mind
the
could
European
never
mind
comprehend.
I'm not so sure about this, guys, because I've seen British KFC before. The Brits get the idea. The rest are getting there eventually, but...
No, dude.
You've seen British KFC. British McDonald's?
It's British KFC. It's an American property. Right? When you're at the KFC, that is Kentucky. No matter where you are, if you're in a KFC, you're in Kentucky.
They just have a picture of the governor, Andy Bashir, up there.
Why do you know the governor of Kentucky's name off the top of your dome?
I don't know why it's Governor Andy Bashir of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It's just one of those things that's stuck in my brain
Andys now. Are aware of each other at all times.
Andy Bashir, Andy Griffith, Andy Dick. I know all of them. We're a hive
four
mind.
Other Andys. There's only 5 of them all together, and we have one.
Andy Gibb, Andy Sandberg, they're all around here. We are one. You thought that Europe was your enemy. You never knew Andys were rising.
Oh, God, and they're gonna
the mountains!
They're gonna fuse together like Voltron.
The mountains are at our command. South America will reckon the day.
Yeah, no, that was a
the mountains are gonna get you.
Yeah,
very slowly. They're gonna get there.
So enough about shitty European movies. Let's talk about pretty okay European movies. It's Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
So it's that time of year. It's Valentine's, right?
It's time for romance.
Don't ever do that again.
Prepare yourself for lots of shitty French accents this episode.
Please don't. Nobody. Can I tell y'all my favorite thing about British people making movies?
Sure.
When they're other cultures, they don't even fucking try to do an accent. Unless they're making fun of that people. They're just like, oh, it's Germany, and everybody has a British accent.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, exactly. It's very funny to me.
Oi, mate, this is Tokyo. You're not looking quite kawaii, is ya?
It's Moulin Rouge, man. 2001 musical. The reason most people in their 30s have ever had absinthe.
That's incredibly true.
Stares at our bottle very deliberately on the cart.
I spent a summer in London, and we searched out for a bar that served absinthe because of this movie. They bought a 30-pound shot, and they all went there's nothing here except the flavor of licorice.
Yep.
Hard.
That's it.
Oh, sorry. 30 pound as in the currency.
Yes.
It's a really heavy shot glass.
Yeah, I was like, was it a bucket? Are you kidding me?
We all put a
Bucket of
straw in.
absinthe shot. I'm here for it.
I am not, I'll die.
Just that good green
Weakling.
liquid.
Ugh.
It was like a bucket of ecto cooler.
Ew.
Bucket o ectoplasm.
This is one of those musicals. I put it up there with Phantom of the Opera, where this was a lot of people, especially our ages, a lot of people's first musical.
Yep.
A lot of like folks intro to theater kids or being a theater kid. A lot of kids saw this movie. And
Instead
then
of a
just
queer
decided-
awakening, this was your theater kid awakening. And
Oh,
maybe
they're the
also
same.
a queer
I was
awakening.
about to say, are they not the same?
Come on.
The Venn diagram is almost a circle, but
it's
there
a
is
circle, Kaylee Horowitz.
there is some space.
Sure.
What about you two?
This movie, I'll be perfectly honest, folks. Yes, Valentine's Day makes it a very appropriate time to talk about this, but I needed to rewatch this movie because let me tell you, when I saw it on that smartboard in Intro to Theater class,
You watched this in class.
I fucking hated it.
Ooh.
I, as a 17-year-old with a good deal of cynicism in my heart, said, this is the shallowest piece of shit I've ever seen. It
Yeah.
is the most obnoxious, stupid thing, and I will fight Baz Luhrmann in the streets because at around
Fight
the
Baz
same
Luhrmann
time...
after he gave us Romeo and Juliet in
Yeah,
the same
that's-
trilogy as this. Oh,
Yeah, that
It's not
movie's-
hold on, pause. These are not
What?
trilogies.
you didn't know the Red Curtain,
claim
the
that.
Red Curtain trilogy.
Nope. I
Wait.
refuse.
Okay. Are you saying this is like the Cornetto trilogy where it's loosely tied together because of the same
So-
people making it?
Kind of. So, like, because I also didn't realize this. I knew that Baz Luhrmann, directed Moulin Rouge and directed Romeo and Juliet, the Leo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
superior Romeo and Juliet. But I didn't know that he had also before that had done Strictly Ballroom, which is a show and plot that I'm less familiar with. But all of these were put together as like a box set, like trilogy. Like, it's not in the traditional sense. It's not like it's like, it's a continuation. It's not like
Yeah.
that.
It's a
But
collection.
it's because of Luhrmann's style of filmmaking and the fact they all
Yeah.
follow a similar style that and this is a quote off of the Wikipedia page, but it's the fact that each contains a theater motif that
Sure.
reappears throughout the film, and that dance is used in the first film, poetry and language in the second, and then song in the third. And so it's kind of his own, like, I'm gonna be artsy fartsy while making movies that are also like theater pieces.
I feel like that's a marketing trope that he said, hey,
Sure.
put my 3 movies together and sell them.
Sure,
Right.
but like
Art.
Again, it's this level of like, no, but they are like some really exciting, like, it's the 90s / beginning of 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, fun, weird, just like oddball ways to play with filmmaking, and then also, let alone also it being like, yeah, and we're gonna adapt some pieces of theater for the screen and see what we can do there that we haven't been able to do with this before. What can we try that's different? How can we make these feel like cinema in whatever way that means to Baz Luhrmann?
And this movie is 90s as fuck. There are too many zooms, too much slow motion, blurry
The
cameras.
slow motion, and then the like speed up and then reversals.
Reversals.
It's so good.
And like zoom out to the cityscape.
Oh my
So
god.
many of them.
Sad
I-
people looking at the camera in front of a green screen. I'm like, okay.
God, my
I
fucking
need to
favorite.
mention, like, with that technical aspect, my biggest pet peeve with movies
Mhm.
is slow-mo that doesn't shoot at a higher frame rate and then stretch it out.
Yeah.
I hate it. Hate it with all of my heart when a movie does a slow-mo and instead of it being like shot at like 120 or like 48 frames and then slowed down to 24. When they shoot it in 24 and slow it down to 12, so it's choppy bullshit. I hate.
Yeah.
That being said,
I
had a lot more fun watching this movie than I did like 15 years ago.
Well, good. You've grown as a person.
It's very important to establish from the onset with this movie. It is a melodrama. It is a musical. It is flighty. It is light. It is loud and bombastic. It is not deep.
Well, let's get into that, man. So the whole premise of the creation of this movie is Baz. How do you say this last name? Lerman. Yeah, Mr. Lerman, Mr. Baz. Can I call you Mr. Baz? Mr. Baz,
Big Mouth Billy Baz.
Already, like Kaylie said earlier, was already working on. Had just finished Romeo plus Juliet. I know it's supposed to be Anne, but it has a plus and it's obnoxious, so I'm gonna say it.
It's like a Japanese video game, man. Just
exactly.
Call it how it's written.
Near Automata : Anyway.
With funky mode.
Yeah. What is it? Fate
Beach
Stay
volleyball.
Night or
You leave fate alone.
She's touched a nerve.
Okay.
I'll say whatever you want about fate. He was working on these
Blue Exorcist. Never mind. Sorry. Continue.
Underbirth and Night after whatever. That's
365 days.
We've lost the
plot. Oh God.
It's okay. It's an easy plot.
Baz had just finished working on Romeo plus Juliet, and they took a trip to India, and he saw a Bollywood movie for the first time, and he was like, "Oh shit, I want to do that." And that was the extent of which they thought.
It was called an ice cream cinema, which frankly sounds like India's doing it better than we are.
They really are. Bollywood movies. What's that movie called?
European cinema, horrible. American cinema, mid. Bollywood, Indian cinema. Oh yeah, baby.
Let's fucking go.
Go watch RRR. It's sick.
Have you ever seen a suspender dance? You will.
Oh my God.
It kind of plays on how shallow it is because it's like we're not trying to tell a convoluted story. They bring in like all this like red film box, whatever you want to call it, trilogy, artsy fartsy stuff. It's like, oh, it's based on Shakespeare and Eurydice and Orpheus and blah blah blah. But they do the very like we're telling a story, but the story we're telling is also inside the story, and it's also a love drama. And then they die at the end because I don't make it sad, right? It's not trying to do anything complicated. It even goes further to a phrase or a term I learned this week. It's a jukebox musical.
Yes.
Which is the whole point of that is it uses pop songs or songs that you would know just to make the musical a little bit more watchable, a little bit more exciting because you're in a constant state of, oh, I know that song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's also like the purpose of like it's a familiar feeling of like it's a new arrangement of the song, but it's to play on that, that old time feeling of love because you're using songs from like the 60s, the 40s, like even older,
It's randomly Sound of Music.
Yeah, where it's just like, sure, that works. I guess it's just what they do. And also, something that really threw me for a loop. It says here in the credits that apparently while the Green Fairy is played by Kylie Minogue, Ozzy Osbourne is the voice of the Green Fairy.
Excellent.
Oh.
That's weird. Anyways, what were you saying, Bo?
Get me off of this crazy train, bro. I don't.
Sorry, man. You took absinthe. What do you expect?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating, man, because I think before I came to the recognition that this is a thing. It's a jukebox musical is an established thing. Mm-hmm. I'm 20 minutes in and I'm frustrated as hell. I was like, why don't they have any original songs?
Because that's the point.
Exactly. I had to step back.
There are a couple of originals, but like predominantly this is a score that is Yeah, it's we're borrowing this, and I'll take some of this, and these are all about the same theme. Okay, let's mash them all together. All right.
Yeah,
That's
and even the songs with original lyrics use like they put lyrics to the Can song, right? The bum
Yeah.
bum bum
Yes.
bum 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 bum. Right.
And usually with a jukebox musical, like currently in the phase that we're in with jukebox musicals, it is very, and I shouldn't even say currently, like 5 years ago with jukebox musicals, it was by a specific artist or group. Like Mamma Mia is ABBA. What are songs we can put together to make a plot that's actually remarkably cohesive for that strategy? Jersey Boys,
American Idiot,
yeah, like things that are all the Elton John is now his own musical or was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, We Will Rock You, Rock of Ages.
Yeah, like there's a lot of that currently, but look at Grease. Look at
Is Grease a jukebox musical, or has the music become that popular?
What am I thinking of? Oh no, what am I thinking of?
Come on, theater major, what do you have for us?
I hate Grease. I don't like remembering that show exists. There was this point of like jukebox was what's in the jukebox? What is just kind of the contemporary, the popular, let's use this if we can license it and work with it, and plug that into shows. And then we went down specific artist rabbit holes and made cohesive, because sometimes it was more biopic, sometimes it was we want to make a story about them with their music, but now we're kind of coming back into this place of like kind of general jukeboxy. Swept Away, I think was one of the most recent examples of like where we're coming back into this like we don't need one artist's catalog, we can just pick and choose what we like and collage it together in a way if we can get the rights.
What's that movie where the whole premise is the guy gets put in a timeline where the Beatles never existed, so he just writes the Beatles songs?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
So technically, that's not a jukebox musical, but Across the Universe, I think, counts as a jukebox musical.
Absolutely, it does. It's, again, all of the same artist, but yes, for sure. And I think much more in line kind of with the way that Moulin Rouge works, where it is not like it's not a biopic about the Beatles, obviously, but it's like some dude and his buddies living through strange and love and Bohemian again, beauty, truth, and love.
If I hear that word again, I'm going to flip a baby.
Which one? Love or Bohemian?
Yes. Infants are getting tossed.
Yay!
Yeah.
Don't punt the baby.
I didn't punt. I'm not punting it. I'm flipping it. So aesthetically, Kaylie, I'm really interested in what you have to say about like the costuming of this movie and whatnot, right?
Costuming is gorgeous. I think this is one of these pieces of film and theater that like I never had like an early introduction experience to this movie. I think similarly to Gibby, I probably saw this maybe in pieces like at 17, 18 kind of thing, but like I don't have a strong recollection of it. I remember it existing. I remember the Tango de Roxanne being the like, yep, everybody this is the only reason you go watch this, and it still is. It's so good. Like that entire sequence is incredible. That arrangement is beautiful. What I do always remember about this, for as shallow as it may or may not be, depending on who's watching, it is a spectacle fest, and it owns that. It owns every single aspect of that, and I think most strongly in its costuming here in the film, because it's film and we get to luxuriate in like limited blocking that some characters have to do, so we can razzle dazzle them and just dress them up, and we can do whatever we need to with shots, and we don't have to worry about an actor having to like do all of these things at one time in a piece of a costume or a garment. I'm always jealous of like film costuming that they get away with that kind of stuff.
What do you mean?
Like you do have to make the garments like last through takes and performance, but it's that like, but we can work around some things. So when we get to the big Bollywood spectacular like moment, that it's like, oh my God, look at all the sparkles, look at all the detail, look, there's so much to take in that you just want to like freeze frame everything and just like let your eye wander over all of the characters. Because like, it's a very good line of like, here are all the places where like these groups look alike but different. Here are all these little details of other side characters that we've kind of gotten to know. Like the Sitar of Truth is just such a goofy little costume and I love him. But then like other moments of really great luscious detail that gets worked back into characters on top of just the general lusciousness itself. Like Satine's everything, the necklace. The necklace that's only there for like a minute and then is ripped off of her person. I'm still like, that is such a beautiful piece of jewelry. No. Ah!
Well, I have a question for you, Kaylie. If all of these costumes are so brilliant and gaudy, why does Ewan McGregor still look like a hipster that walked off the extras set from Rent?
Damn.
Because apparently that's what it means to be Bohemian. And here's I will throw
Baby
this
flipped.
on the I'll throw this on the table. Shit. With the baby. I'll throw this on the table. I'm gonna say it again, Bo. I'm sorry.
I'm finding another baby.
I rewatching that because similarly to Gibby, this is a fever trip. This is an acid trip. Like, it's a good time. Have some absinthe before you watch Moulin Rouge. Maybe it'll make it better. Maybe it'll make it worse. I don't know how you handle it. But I had to rewatch it because I'm like, I remember the pieces of this. I just don't remember, like, what happens in what order and why. Because there's a lot of these, like, contrived miscommunication or we have to hide a secret beats that happen through this story. And watching it this time, finally clicked as to like why some I can't stand, some is a like it's just not my cup of tea. I don't like shows and storylines and all these whatever that come back. We go through a cycle of idolizing the Bohemian ideals. Like it's the 60s, it's the peace love like hippie power hour, it's the 90s and Rent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like and like we come back through these waves of beauty, truth, love. And no matter the plot, like it will usually end tragically, and those moments do hit hard. But it is the fact that usually your idealistic, pasty-assed, naive little white boy who is trying to learn the ways of the beauty, truth, love movement forgets the material conditions of his immediate existence. Christian, he loves Satine, but she's technically been paid by this duke to be in love with her because she's a courtesan. She's doing her job. Like she's a sex worker. She's doing her job. This guy's paid for her to pretend to love him. Like, her and Christian have been communicating that they actually have real feelings for each other, but she's just like, dude, I gotta go, like, I've been told I have to sleep with him. The fact that, like, he cannot let the idea of that happening go to the point that it drives him to madness with jealousy. And I get that that's part of this whole plot, is that jealousy makes a man mad. Jealousy changes a person. But literally, if he were just, like, accepting to the idea that sex work is real work and he believed her when she's like, yeah, I love you, like, my dude.
I have that in my notes.
Good.
Like, I literally wrote, she's a whore, right? He knows she's a whore, right? Like not in an insulting way, but in the most literal way. I assume she didn't stop working while they were making the spectacular. So she's still been having, maybe?
I mean, like, she's been really busy acting.
Well, she's been busy, but also, like, the Duke comes into the picture and is like, I want a special arrangement with her and like the deed to this place, but like, yeah, go do whatever, buy whatever you want, but like, I just want to go hang out, we're gonna nudge with Satine. So like, theoretically, she's off the table at that point because she should be the Duke's.
Right.
But like, before Christian ever showed his pretty little face there,
it's literally
she
her
was
job.
a virgin.
That's what I'm saying. That was her 9 to 5.
right.
I'm sorry, my dude, that you are like the guy in every like Shakespeare story and all these other love stories that like just because you are poetic and sweet and a romantic and everything, you still are going to give in to this male jealousy of just like, but she's mine. And just because you're singing in a very sweet way about it doesn't mean that you're doing it all that differently from the Duke.
And unless the point of it is to be the fact that even he cannot abide fully by the ideals of beauty, truth, and love, and that even he's flawed and fallible to jealousy and that possessive cruelness taking over him. The fact that you are trying to say, oh yeah, beauty, truth, and love reign, and yet you can't accept that like sex work is real work and let her go do her job is like that. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's a weird, I don't know if I want to call it a plot hole, because again, one of the major points of this movie is that it's very shallow, right? It's a inch deep and a mile wide, however that saying goes.
With sparkles.
And it's very pretty. There's a lot of glitter in that big old puddle. I think if you were to ask Mr. Boz, I'd be like, I don't fucking care. Did you see the dresses? Shit was tight, right? See the slow-mo on the panties? That was cool, right? You were into that. You know what I mean?
Legs.
Gams.
I mean, like, that's kind of how so many of these stories are.
Yeah.
It's just like, yes, the man is being ridiculous, but it's a story that's told from his perspective.
Right.
So we should believe him with it.
Because I think that's been my frustration as a woman and mostly femme person, is just this like, I need men to literally stop and shut up for 5 minutes because what the
or don't like, date a sex worker if you don't want her having sex.
Don't fall
with
in
other
love
people.
with the stripper if you can't accept the fact that she's still got to go to work once you're dating.
Exactly. Like your poor ass isn't gonna pay for her. You know what I'm saying?
We all gotta pay rent. Be cool,
right? Just be cool with it.
Or date somebody else.
Like she is willingly sleeping with you. She loves you. Just let her sell the feet pics on the side. You will benefit from it. You will both reap the rewards.
He sees her taking feet pics and he's just like, I thought you were mine. You're mine and mine alone.
Right. And I think that's the thing that I think has shifted in the and also I think coming back to this story, this is not a new story, let alone Moulin Rouge itself. Like, this is a trope that has been done and done and done and done. Like, whether it's Romeo and Juliet, whether it's Orpheus, Eurydice, like we love a tragic, oh, if only this could work, but for some reason it can't romance. But so literally, poetic. Moulin Rouge has existed for more than 100 years. Like, there are films from 1928, 1952, and 2001. Not to mention the then Broadway musical version of it that went up in 2017, 2018.
Yeah. Was it that recently?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right?
Yeah.
But so within the now shift of the conversation in 20 years, I think like that's, from my perspective now, is a like bigger plot hole of like, yeah, for a show, for something that's like so focused on this idea of you know, the underworld, the rabble rousers. Bohemian ideals are usually in that like sex work kind of like, oh, you dirty poor people, whatever. Like, for something so like entangled with that, it's so bothersome that is not in this conversation. And again, it's a 20-plus-year-old movie, but like just as a consideration of like, if you're gonna walk into this with these ideals, you can't keep such a straight and narrow view on things then.
Yeah.
It won't work.
What if I did?
But what if it were easier? No, and I think that's a good point. A phrase I absolutely despise is postmodern, because it inherently doesn't mean anything. It's just it's a word we throw on pieces when we say, oh, they were trying to be different. And it's like,
Sure.
you can't be postmodern. You can't be after modern. Modern is right now. Postmodern doesn't exist. And even when anyway, so
disagree,
no,
but
fuck you.
I do agree with you that it gets used a lot in ways that are like, I
Yeah.
don't think you know how to describe exactly what you're looking
even
at.
when experts use the word, they don't agree on what it means. And I'm like,
Yeah.
then that means the word doesn't have meaning.
The best quote about postmodern is from The Simpsons, where somebody's saying, it's postmodern, and nobody reacts to it. And then they say, weird for the sake of being weird.
Exactly.
Oh, I get it.
It's very interesting just through this conversation, right? I think if we were having this conversation 23 years ago, the fact that Nicole Kidman's character, I apologize, I can't remember her name.
Satine.
Sure. The fact that Nicole Kidman
It's just her name.
never is acknowledged in that sense, right? Because even her character, I think one of the things they would say is we don't have time to really explore that because she's doomed from the start, right? Like not cold open, right? She does her opening opening act.
Cold open in the monologue,
like,
we know she's gonna die.
Yes, actually, you're completely right. Yeah.
Then in her, like, here's my, I keep wanting to say the diamond of the season, and that's Bridgerton. But
yeah.
I'm the diamond. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. And then, fainting spell, consumption.
What is consumption?
Tuberculosis.
Is that what it is? It's TB?
Yes.
How was she not passing that to Ewan McGregor? Because they were macking on each other all the time.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna. Like, it's just like, I looked it up and it's just like, how do you pass tuberculosis? It's airborne. So singing. All those people in the theater have tuberculosis.
Singing in somebody's face, making out.
Tongues swapping spit. Yeah. Why do you think he looks so destitute? It's not because, like, he's incredibly heartbroken. It's because he's suffering from consumption.
He's got TB, Obi-Wan.
Consumption.
No.
Another weird factoid, because that seems to be my thing this episode.
Yes.
Go for it.
Many of the beauty standards of that period of time were based on how people look when they got TB. They were very pale,
yes,
and they had blood red on their lips because they were coughing up blood from inside of them. And people said, that's hot. And they started copying the aesthetic.
It's probably because the rich people had it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this on purpose." Right?
Yeah,
like
cholera was not giving.
Cholera's not giving.
It's kind of like how right now it's socially acceptable to wear wife beaters again. And it's like out in public, which I'm not complaining. I find them comfortable. But
it's a throwback to fashion icon Crab Man from My Name is Earl. We all know the reference.
Thought we were going to say Stanley Kowalski.
No,
we're going to say Carl
back.
from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Hey, Fry Man. I just want to let you know I'm eating right now. And I don't mean these fucking delicious ribs. When they say he ate, wasn't talking about that pizza I had.
I don't think we'd get to Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
I've been watching a lot of Aqua Teen Hunger Force recently.
I didn't think we'd get to that in the Moulin Rouge episode, but here we go.
Yeah, we're supposed to talk about romance, Brad.
Are you telling me that the greatest romance scene of all time is not when Carl puts on an 80s rocker wig to air guitar in front of a prostitute for 30 seconds? Where he's just like, "When in internet, what?" And she's just sitting there on the couch, and then he's just like, "All right, now we can fuck."
That's basically the first half of Moulin Rouge, yeah.
Kind of.
That's exactly what he does. He sings at her, and she's just like, "Oh, now we could have sex." Bro,
I do love the like miscommunication of the poetry. It's so cringy, but it's so funny. The way that she commits whenever she thinks she's picking up the hint of like him making an innuendo, and she just goes for it. I'm like, oh my God, Nicole, please.
And I think that speaks on, again, the depth or lack thereof in this movie, because the acting is all extremely melodramatic, and it's all on purpose, right?
Yes.
Shout out to the Duke. Wow.
Shout outs to the Duke, bro.
The Duke and the Ringmaster just
Yes.
the whole time.
Yeah, and I will say, just like Gibby in the first like 5 minutes, I found it very frustrating and a little grating, right? You know, that, and on top of, hey, nobody here has access except John Leguizamo and the guy with narcolepsy. They have funny accents, not because they're portraying people, but because they're trying to be like wacky cartoon characters. Yeah. The inspiration to all YouTube humor circa 2005 to 2018. Right. I found it very grating, but again, once you like step back and you say, no, this is just supposed to be, this is the dangling keys in front of the baby.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
There's not necessarily anything wrong with that, right? It's a super easy watch. It's romantic enough. It's boisterous. You know a bunch of the songs.
You're gonna dangle those keys in front of that baby until you flip it, though.
And that baby's gonna laugh the entire time. The second somebody says the B word, it's getting tossed. But until then, but until then, I think what makes this movie cool is just how digestible it is. Right?
Yeah.
I was genuinely shocked how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a turn your brain off movie.
100%.
And that's, I think, the issue of like, I definitely would need to do more to like turn my brain off, because the first half, and even during the like we have to hide our love, like the middle, like the second act of the film, like
Let's
there's
hide
a
our
lot
love.
of it that
now
is,
let's make out on stage.
right, like, oh my god, you
in front of an open window.
Oh, affairs are usually so much more harder to like, my dude, come on. Or not harder, easier to like, it's so much harder to find out sometimes, you idiots. No, but like like it is so turn your brain off up until a certain point, and then I just hit this, for me, like I hit a wall of frustration of just like,
yeah,
I get it's the way this plot has to go. And I'm and I have the Hades Town reaction even to this one still, of like, as we try to fight to get Christian and Satine back on the same page with one another, despite the miscommunications and him spiraling into a jealous, sad rage. Like, secrets. There are so many times where you're just like, oh yeah, no, they're gonna make it, they're gonna get out. Wait, no, we were literally told at the beginning of this fucking movie that she dies.
And
it still hurts by the end.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, again, we just spent the last less than an hour like joking about this movie. I don't think anybody who's in this piece would be angry about that, because again, it's shallow, and it's not like they don't know it isn't.
No,
right? So you can sit there and critique it and make fun of it or whatever. And it's like, but you're having a good time, right?
And I think that's also part of the point, because remember, the Moulin Rouge, if it's like, this is a place of like entertainment and escapade, yeah, it's shallow, it's sexy, it's funny, it's raunchy, like, and that is the point. That for the movie itself to be that at a certain level makes complete sense in my mind, especially when allowing the actors to be campy and over the top with it, because it is so much of that as performance. And I realized, like, watching this, it was like, if I were in this situation as like an actor in the room, as like one of these parties involved, the way in which everyone like improvs off of each other, like not necessarily like the actors as people, like even McGregor and Nicole Kidman, but like,
yeah,
these characters as these actors and performers working at the Rouge, like the way that people are like improving off of each other to like come up with a clever enough workaround to a sticky situation is so good. Like, that's the kind of shit where I'm like, yes, you don't leave your scene partner hanging. You say, dude, yes, and it's in India.
I would absolutely love to A, be in the position of the actors within the fantasy, or B, if they were to like film a remake or do a stage production in this, this shit would be so much dumb fun.
Well, I mean, there is a stage production.
There is, but I'm not auditioning for it right now.
No.
Why not?
Because I don't know people. I don't have connections.
Because you're only, what, like 2,000 miles away from New York?
Literally on the other side of the country. Come on.
Yeah, sure. But like, I think being in this would be as much fun as watching it.
Yeah.
For sure.
I did get to see the Broadway version back in 2022.
Yeah.
And I, for the
COVID
life of
Moulin
me...
Rouge.
Not even really. Like,
Ooh, right
by that
before.
point... No, this is 2022. Like, right
Oh, yeah, we were done.
We were done. We were done. I mean...
Was I still catching COVID?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was I over it? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, like, it was that, like, you go to other parts of New York and maybe you have a mask on just in case, but, like, I did in the theater, but that's because I wanted to make sure that I could make it my 2 weeks that I was in the city on a research trip so that I could go see shows via lottery tickets, because that's how I got into Moulin Rouge, was the ticket lottery. Spectacle Fest. The inside of the theater, there's the windmill spinning in a corner. We have the elephant over on this other chunk of, like, the wing of the stage. Like, it's a gorgeous space. If you pay an absurd amount of money, you're in those cafe tables that are right, like, on the stage, basically, or, like, built into the stage that the can-can dancers are, like, dancing around you. There's catwalks there. Like, it is such a clear, like, we are a theater, but yet we are wanting to make this like you're at the club, like
you're at
the Moulin Rouge itself as well. And the show does not only, you know, bring in new songs to Jukebox, because it had been like 16-ish years since the movie to the musical. So we update the songs a little bit. Again, still finding those, like, ooh, actually, what is more of the theme, the vibe, the feeling of this scene in the way that it gets retooled, in the way that it gets reworked. You know, while keeping the important shit like the Tango de Roxanne.
Amazing.
But there were so many moments of, like, things that obviously worked so well on camera feel a little awkward here at times. Like the some of the stuff with Christian and Satine and the elephant, I think were some of the ones of the most, like, it's not that the actors' chemistry isn't working here, it's just that, like, this is now awkward somehow. I don't know. But then when we get to expand, when we get to do these bigger moments or exaggerated, fantastical moments, that's when it works so well. And I think it's partly because it's still feeling that, like, no, but remember, this is a performance. This is a story. And, like, it is so integral. Like, it's one of the things that I do actually really think I love about Moulin Rouge itself, is that, like, the shallowness and the vapidness is as integral to the story in it as it is to its overall form. For sure. That an audience experiences. And I loved that, because I walked out of there going, yeah, this was a spectacle fest. But it did exactly what it needed to with that, versus other shows that I've seen where I'm just like, this is a spectacle fest because you just wanted some pretty people to get up there and sing and dance, and, like, I didn't care.
Yeah. Gibby, what do you have to say?
This movie would have been a nightmare to fucking edit back in 2000.
Editor Gibby is having cold sweats thinking about it.
Oh, God, yes. Like, the fact that... Have you ever seen that scene from Taken 3 with Liam Neeson?
You know I haven't.
No. It's one specific scene that gets parodied on, like, YouTube and Reddit all the time, where he's jumping over a fence and there's 47 cuts in the space of a minute.
What the fuck?
I will send it to you guys because it is insanity. That's what parts of this movie felt like. And yes, is that the point? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing the artistic choice. I'm saying, Jesus Christ, some poor bastard on a tan box-shaped computer with, like, 32 megabytes of RAM had
Windows
to work
98.
his way. Yeah, on Windows 98, on God knows what editing
chunky
program.
Ass gateway
to
computers.
chunk together scenes from, like, 7 different days of filming and make it make at least some sense. Like, I'm shocked that the In Memoriam wasn't to the entire editing team. That is a Saving Private Ryan of editing. That is the D-Day of editing right there. And you know what? fuck 17-year-old Gibby who didn't like this movie. I will shout out those editors because, damn it, those are American heroes right there.
French, British heroes? British heroes.
Australian. Most likely.
Probably Australian because the
I'm pretty
director's
sure Australian.
White people heroes. They are white people heroes.
Yeah.
Editors are beyond nation. We are bonded just like Andes across the world.
This is actually why we need to recognize like the technical categories of like film and other media awards, because actually what brings us together is not about the French writers or the Australian visionaries. It's about the goddamn editors who all bleed the same blood. Computer oil.
It's about all of the nerds who have posture like shrimps because they've been leaning over their keyboards for hours on end.
That's how you identify them across nationality, across border.
Terrible posture.
Can I read y'all my notes?
Sure.
John Leguizamo, my king. Why is he on his knees? Hate this. Hate this. Hate this. No, this is fine. Why are all European movies about artist whores or people who are pretending to be artist or whores?
Because it's Bohemian. Flip it, baby.
Flipped. Oh, this is where steampunk comes from.
Sure.
I just have in all caps because I think that's when Nicole Kidman like first fell off the rafters.
Baby fall down.
Baby get flipped. Why did I write this? Nicole Kidman is a big lady. I think there's a scene. I do know why I wrote this. There's a scene where it's the Duke and Nicole Kidman, and she's in the foreground, he's in the background, and she's still like 3 inches taller than he is. And I'm like, wait, hold on, right? I was like, is this images? No. And then it paused the movie. I go to Google, I look it up, and I'm like, Nicole Kidman is 5'11".
Yeah.
She's a big
tall
lady. Yeah.
Am I into Nicole Kidman?
Probably.
I am into Nicole.
She's very pretty.
We come to this place for magic.
And big women.
You just see me stand up and salute the screen. The Duke just looks at the camera and goes, big lady.
Yeah, there were definitely scenes where she was the tallest person in the room.
Yeah.
Like,
I did actually
anyway.
notice like the scenes where her and Ian McGregor are like at the same height. It was like,
She is taller than him.
yeah, I'm like, is he on a box? I don't think
God,
he's
he's
that
living
tall.
the dream.
She's not much taller than he is. But
No,
she was
like,
definitely wearing
it's
she
not
was
like-
definitely wearing heels, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
the other
like-
thing too. I was like, maybe she's also wearing heels, but I was like, Ewan McGregor is not like a short king, but he's not like a tall man.
He's like 5'10", 5'9".
Yeah, I was
and
like,
they usually exaggerate up
That's
for
above
men.
average.
yeah. Like
Put him in
tall
heels,
guy,
damn
but-
it.
Yes.
Forget the apple box.
My next note, red in all
Red.
caps.
The blood of angry men.
And then notice when it, like, you know, most everything is red, but then notice which pieces are blue and why and when.
I hate his mustache. Good job. I think that's about the Duke.
Yeah.
Something about him, like, in my mind this go around made me go, if only Christian Borle had been more of a, like, known name, I would have loved to have seen him in this.
Yeah.
Big Malvolio energy.
Mhm.
And then my last note, we went over this. He knows she's a whore, right? That's the last thing I wrote. Moulin Rouge, man. Crispy? Maybe?
It's 2 hours. And for a musical, like,
For a musical you're not going to pay a lot of attention to.
grading on a curve, I'd say crispy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell when the intermission is.
Hmm.
So you could pause it and go pour yourself another glass of absinthe. I would definitely say it is crispy with a good drink.
Yeah, you're not going to be watching it anyway. You're going to be making out with your partner. Go watch it. It's crispy.
Woo!
If you just watch the Roxanne part, it makes the crispy marker very easily. How about you just watch the Roxanne part like 20 times? That's like 70 minutes. Totally works.
Ian's favorite sequence in this film is the Green Fairy sequence.
Of course.
I love the like the can like our introduction to the Moulin Rouge. The can like is good. It sticks.
And the very timely Nirvana.
But like, but Roxanne, Tango de Roxanne, always and forever, despite it being a like, oh God, everything is gonna go to shit no matter what. It's such a banger. It's so good.
This is the world's longest outro.
Good.
That's been this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Follow us on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. Join us next time when we write a musical about a culture that we don't know. Did I do that last time? We probably did that last time. We're gonna do it again. Peace.
The Liberal Artists Podcast premieres every other Thursday on your favorite podcasting platform. The show is hosted by Bodio, Kaylie Horowitz, and Andy Gibson. You can find the show at Liberal Artists Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks to White Hot for performing the theme song Reflect, which can be found on freebeats.io. Now, I'm off to go exploring, and maybe, just maybe, I'll find a sheep that I can call my own. Good day.
Which I always feel so weird actually calling him by his character. It's Ian McGregor.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan
Kenobi! What are you doing here?
General Kenobi. Love.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
No, I just see them falling in live.
The windmill has lightsabers. General Kenobi.
There's 4 sides. There's 4 fans.
Nicole
I'm
Kidman
so sorry.
on a volcano, just trying not to fall in.
You see the Argentinian fall through the floor, and it's just like another happy landing.
John Leguizamo, no!
I'm so sorry if I peak, Editor Gibby.